Okay, after episode 11, I think we can say with 99.9% certainty that we were wrong about this guy. Well, maybe we weren't entirely wrong regarding Neva, but we've definitely moved from the camp of him being a secret bad guy to somewhere else. That doesn't fully absolve him, though, of being manipulative or having his own agenda, but we are now inclined to believe that maybe he is working towards something that isn't necessarily a bad thing. But still, let's discuss the character Neva, now that we've had a chance to see him interact with our cast. First of all, for the amount of lore that the series drops, Neva was surprisingly vague and didn't really say much to the group. He kinda distracted them with the prospect of the team needing his help with summoning the dragon, which we know from the trailer would be called Durisi or something similar, and didn't really provide a lot of information about his true motives. Even though Piccolo thought what we all thought, this guy is not senile and actually pretty sharp. Although I still find it really odd that Piccolo, Kamekolo can't speak Namekian, so why do they need it? It seems a bit convenient in a way. But regardless of that, should we just let Toriyama cook? Most of the information that he provides was already teased in the Granola the Survivor Arc about the true original purpose of the Dragon Balls, which was definitely something that Toriyama wanted Toryotaro to immediately and exactly include. That's pretty neat, and it feels somewhat rewarding to those that have read the manga beforehand. The thing is, though, is that he hadn't really touched the whole story of the creation of the Dragon Balls, nor did he really give our heroes any full answers. For now, I don't buy his reason not to stand against the Demon King, nor do I fully believe that he didn't expect the team not to start gathering Dragon Balls. Think about it. Wouldn't he feel them with all the power that he possessed that one of them had been taken? No, I'm pretty sure that he knows exactly what's going on. The moment he was walking towards that ship and asked our heroes questions that he knew the factual answers to, yeah, he's the kind of guy who wants to see the reaction. Also, I'm pretty sure that he could reset Earth's Dragon Balls again. He just chose not to. Just to not give Goma more chances to do something truly nefarious. Again, he says that he did not anticipate the heroes to be that strong, or that they would challenge a Tamagami. But is that really true? I'm starting to think, nah mate, nah. Otherwise, why did he take interest in this band of strangers? Does he want to see the winds of change in the demon realm happen, or is something different at stake? Also, he mentions that Namekians are not allowed to use their powers for conflict, which is a statement that attracts everyone's attention toward Piccolo. But honestly, what does that even mean? They still have warriors, the warrior clans. The very reason of Dragon Ball's existence is tied to that, so what gives? Oh, he actually clarifies this. It's about Namekian effort. Could his original intention be misinterpreted by the Namekians of Namek, that maybe his doctrine was then taken the wrong way? Are they meant to only defend and not attack back? Or is it a magical physics law, like the one that did not allow mirrors to interfere as an angel, that it might cause them to be erased from the cosmos? Because in all honesty, Neva would be powerful enough to overthrow the likes of Abura, Dabura, and if not him directly, surely the Tamagami could do it for him. Also, it would be a certain omission not to discuss certain parallels with Marba, as they both create entities that are, presumably, much more physically capable than either of them themselves. The thing is, though, is that the witch doesn't seem to have any qualms of assisting Dr. Arinsu in her little uprising rebellion. We still haven't seen how exactly she was working with Bibidi at the time, if it was a mutually beneficial agreement or some sort of thing under duress, but seeing that she was willing to create similar entities again, I do think that some kind of pact was formed. Neva claims that Tamagami were made to protect Dragon Balls from bad people, and I do believe that it is one of the reasons why they exist, but with the bar being set so high, there is always a risk of truly malevolent creatures being able to beat your own creations. Now, I do think that that's where the additional test comes into play. The test that might be more important than the fight itself, like I touched upon in the base review. Like the cup thing with Tamagami number 3. It's possible that Majin Du will defeat number 1, but our gut feeling on the channel is that he might fail the test and be denied the Dragon Ball. I think this is another safety measure, a kill switch as it were, for Neva to make sure that whoever finds it is trustworthy. But the question is though, why? Again, There is that mention of white magic and dark magic in the pilot episode, and I do think this is one of Daima's many Chekhov's guns. This show is full of the seeds that are sprouting later on and are now beginning to fruit. Pun absolutely intended, by the way. Like, those Dragon Balls have to be different. Every set has its own set of quirks. Which brings me to another interesting connection of Daima and the Granola saga, paying with life. It isn't a big plot point for now, but we do see that the lifespan is kind of used as a currency within the demon world. It is kind of dark to think that the gendarmerie can take away years of a life from the inhabitants of the third demon world just because, even if they do have thousands of them to spare, yet we've seen something like that before, and yet we completely forgot about it. Granola, Gas, they had to pay for most of their remaining years to become the strongest in the universe. You gotta remember that, this is not the first time we've seen it. This was the caveat on which Torombo was working with. You get something, you gotta pay with your life. And considering that his saga contained one of the biggest foreshadowing moments for the true nature of the Namekians, plus Neva and Monaito definitely share a base design, this is not a coincidence. Daima has been in the works for a very, very, very long time, so it's likely that Toriyama wanted to plant some seeds as he went along. But what does it give us for now? Well, there is one more weird thing about lifespans within Daima, something that we have touched upon in another video. The Namekians that were born in the demon realm seem to have longer lives than those that were born in the mortal realm. We don't know why that is yet, but I'm suspecting that this will be explained in due course. It's not just Neva who is impossibly old, but Katas, who has been name-dropped in the anime for the first time in 34 years. He had to leave the demon realm with one of the exoduses of the Namekians in retaliation against Abura's paranoia. And as we know, the last one occurred during Majin Buu's initial rampage, which was millions and millions of years ago. And yet then we see Kami, who's become an old Namekian within half a millennia. This also seems to kind of parallel with the fact that the future generations of Demon Kings do seem weaker than their predecessors. Now, it might be connected to Abura losing the evil third eye from his possession, but it might also be a certain correlation going on. So, to return to the point of Neva and his dragon, what would it be capable of? It won't be more powerful than Super Shenron, that's for sure. Goku also notes that the Demon Realm Dragon Balls are about the same size as Namekian ones, which surely served as an inspiration. Now we can expect a similar power to maybe Porunga, but the set is smaller, not 7 balls, but 3. And the only smaller set we have is Torombo's, which has this monkey paw thing, pay with your life. Does this apply to Darusi as well? And if those Dragon Balls are created with dark magic, what sort of wishes can they grant? Are they bound by the same rules that Shenron has? I'm purposely avoiding the terms of good or evil here, because Daima, it's literally thrown the notion of demon-related stuff being morally inferior out the window. You can't distinguish between the two. This is the source of life, magic, and everything. And as such, we should see these two types of magic as maybe yin and yang, something that completes itself, and has a very specific rule set. If Earth's Dragon Ball limits the demons from using wishes such as killing, would Demon Realm Dragon Balls limit the mortals from doing so as well? I mean, in true Toriyama fashion, we would have Hibis save the day, but we also have Shin and Piccolo to consider, who are technically demons as well, so who knows? Again, Neva is now in the game, in the hot seat, and he has to see everything through. He feels like someone who has placed all his pieces on the chessboard and is waiting for the game to unfold. He is ready for some surprises, but I am quite sure he will welcome these surprises fondly. Also, as an interesting side note, he still does seem to be quite unconcerned regarding Dende. Like, his explanation is sound, and we know that Goma won't hurt or kill the baby, but still, isn't it odd how indifferent he seems about his own people? Piccolo had to earn his interest, I guess, in a way, that the Dragon Balls are meant to be earned and be a prize for warriors. Maybe his lack of said interest is related to the fact that our big small green is a warrior. Or maybe this is just another test as to what might be his endgame. We actually might be starting to form some clues. It comes from when Shin asks him about the reason why he hasn't left the second demon realm. His answer is that, aside from liking the place, he wants to keep it safe when everyone returns. Not if, when. I do think that this is the closest that we were to seeing his true agenda, but it is still quite mysterious. Obviously, he wants to see the demon realm be open once more for travel, that's for darn sure. But the question is, would the Namekians want to return? Would the Glint, if they are close to extinction anyway, I think we all believe that there is one more tree somewhere, or at least a seed of a Glint tree just knocking around, would they decide to pack up and return, leaving the sacred world of the Kais? I don't think so. And I believe that, although not evil, Neva can possibly cause some sort of conflict to go down soon, if he wanted to. Be a little forceful in bringing people back to the demon realm. Obviously not to make a complete 180, but to make someone persuade him to drop that idea. That's what I think will happen. Which might be hard considering how long he's been around. But then again, it is odd, right? Considering this attitude toward Dende. If he truly wanted him, wouldn't he act more invested in his security and safety? He seems to be far more interested by the Z fighters than the young Guardian and his set of Dragon Balls. He is clearly teaching them something, giving them hints. He has that mischievous Yoda from the Empire Strike Back streak about him. He's also pretty dodgy about things, and he answers with very brief responses, and often not very specific. Kind of like Glorio, who I'm quite sure Neva has seen through just as easily as Piccolo did with him. Needless to say, Daima is full of mysterious characters, but perhaps Neva is the most mysterious out of all of them. His true goals do elude us, and we still hope that we will have that flashback to him figuring out how to create the Dragon Balls. Remember, we have a precise date of Zalama creating the Super Dragon Balls from Super, which was year 41 of the Divine Calendar. The question is, though, if this started to be counted when Rimus created the universe, or was it simply something that later administrations added, like the Gregorian calendar? It's food for thought. But still, I'm almost certain that Neva was one of the Namekians that went there, took the sample, and figured. Maybe that's the reason why he's so homebound to the demon realm. It's because he used to travel a lot back when the universes were created, that he has that there's no place like home mentality about him. A Bilbo Baggins of this universe, as it were. He might have had a lot of adventures back in the day, and I do hope we will learn something more about those mysterious Namekian adventures and explorations, as well as other mysterious Namekians. Honestly, seeing him not be nefarious did not take anything from his mystique. It's quite the opposite. While Goma and Degisu seem to be weirdly passive, with Arinsu being 2 steps ahead of them and 1 step before the Z-Fighters, Neva looks like the kind of character who is 2 steps ahead of everyone. And he is having a blast right now. He is having a lot of good fun. And I did not expect him to join the crew, but again, surely there could have been a situation where Piccolo could say, well, yeah, I do know, but Neva will go, but you don't know about my tongue of Namekian. It's very different to what you might know. And then that would explain it. There you go. But honestly, I think we are getting toward the direct conflict between the 3 factions, the Z-Fighters, Goma, and Arinsu, and I am very curious who crawls out of this victorious. I'm quite sure that Neva has his anticipated ending going, and we'll be watching everything unfold. In a way, he kind of reminds me of Toriyama, who wanted to downplay his intelligence and diligence and give fans and interviewers silly answers or very vague ones. I don't want to suggest that Neva is a self-insert character, but looking at him more and more, knowing that Toriyama loved to joke about himself being lazy and more forgetful than he actually knows, it's hard not to make these parallels. I do get a feeling that this is the true self-insert character for Toriyama other than Toribot. And wouldn't you know it, he's been keeping all of this juicy lore for us once we return to an animated Dragon Ball series, his final gift to the fans and the community. All I can say is, Toriyama, never change.